PHEV liters per 100 kilometers 5-month update. So charging every day, I'm just over 2 liters per 100 kilometers. In hybrid mode, I'm down to 6.03 liters per 100 kilometers is what I'm getting. And the difference between those two are the hybrid mode is just when the car is running and we're not taking into account the plugged in 40 some kilometers you're going to get free every day. So if you're just running the engine and it's kicking on, making its own electricity, that's what I refer to as hybrid mode. In that mode now, after 5 months, 6 liters per 100 kilometers is what I'm getting with the vehicle. That's when it's myself mostly, just running around town, maybe one kid. When the whole family is in here and we're fully loaded going on a trip, not trailering anything, we're getting 7.2, 7.3 liters per 100 kilometers. So there's the trailer, there's the bike, guys. 600 pounds each approximately. You can see the dirt on the back of the car, so we were traveling back roads. This is the second weekend in a row that I've trailered this unit. That's probably somewhere around 1,200 kilometers that I've done, so we can talk about the PHEV and trailering and numbers and things like that. I actually have data. Okay guys, there's some real world towing numbers. 356 kilometers driven with the trailer and the four-wheeler on the back. About 1,200 pounds is the setup. 4 people in the car, fully loaded, 200 pounds of gear. And this is not including any electric data. This is just hybrid mode data only. So we got in the car, started driving. After 25 kilometers when the electric was used up, I reset the driving data. And this is just strictly the numbers that you're getting from hybrid mode. The car will not charge when towing this 1,200 pounds. It just basically drives, and as it builds up a little bit of power, it uses it as needed. And you can see we got 21% EV driving in without any charge from home. 356 kilometers. We've talked in other videos about how the car is a smart car, and even though we have an EV button, we don't really need it. The car tries to use electric power first. Well, it also does that in other modes. If you put it in charge mode, it will prioritize charge unless it can't. Then it uses the electricity as needed. And I found that out trailering this unit. It's too heavy. The engine is running constantly. So as soon as you do more than 80 kilometers an hour, it can't put any charge into the charging unit. I drove for over an hour with the charge button on and didn't gain a single kilometer, and yet I still had electricity being used in hybrid mode. We had over 20% of our trip done just by the engine. Now, when I was going slower than 80 kilometers, you would see the occasional trickle coming from the engine, the blue arrow saying that it was putting power into the battery. It was very few and far in between. Some of the back roads that I did do, there was a stretch of 40 minutes. We had to charge on again, and I think I gained about 2 kilometers because we were doing between 60 and 80 kilometers an hour. So very slow, but the engine is working pretty hard, a 2-liter engine, to pull that 1,200 pound trailer and four-wheeler. In electric mode, the car will still pull the trailer in pure electric. The thing is, you're going to use average after 1,200 kilometers was 31 point something amp hours. Usually, just the vehicle itself, I'm down around between anywhere from 16 to 21, depending on, you know, how cold it is, how much gear we have in the car. So really, you're down to probably 20 some kilometers that you can pull the trailer. So a trick that I used is, because the vehicle is smart, if you guys have ever noticed when you put it in save mode, if you have energy and you save it, the car still uses that electricity. I don't know if you've noticed that, but say you have 20 kilometers left and you want to save that, the car will still going up a big hill, passing people, things like that. It will use that electricity up to about 3 kilometers worth. So you'll see the saved amount that you have will drop down to 17, then the engine kicks on and it charges it back up to 20. So a little trick that I do now is when I'm towing something like this, I'll save my electricity right from the beginning. It still uses a little bit of it here and there, but then when you need to go up a big hill or there's a long upgrade or slope or something where the engine's going to work really hard, then I use the electricity there. So the car is very smart. It puts itself in hybrid mode. Just like electric mode, it will prioritize hybrid mode whenever it needs to. If it can't put charge in, it will switch into hybrid mode, and you're not losing any electricity. It's going to use it, whatever it generates, it's going to use, guys. We can compare this to my Subaru Forester Turbo, which is 2.4 liter. Pulling this same unit, trailer and four-wheeler for 6 years, I know I averaged 15.6 liters per 100 kilometers while pulling that. So for this vehicle fully loaded with 4 people and all the other gear and the trailer to get 10.3, power when trailering, no problem. This thing is very similar to my 2.4 liter turbo. So the batteries, they make this thing more like a V6. Okay, so we've switched cameras now because the last thing I want to talk about is the battery on the PHEV, and that we've noticed before that every couple of weeks it comes down 0.1 of an amp hour. Well, I think I may have found a solution that's slowing that down at least. What I did was I had traveled out to a family reunion, and I parked the car overnight, and the only charger I had was the regular charger that came with the car. Now, I use a Duosoda 15 amp 240 volt charger, so that's not the most this car can take is like 30 amps, so we're nowhere near the theoretical maximum here. So 15 amps shouldn't be an issue, but it is theorized by a few people online that these fast chargers are what is causing the degradation. It's not the battery itself that's the problem, guys. It's the software in the car. The software to keep everything safe says, you know, we've got to be in that mid 70% of battery use. We don't like the top, we don't like the bottom. We never let you touch the bottom 30% of the battery, and it's all software driven. And I mean, these chargers in the car is very smart. It smooths itself at the beginning and end of every cycle. There's a guy, Andy, who does, I hope I'm getting this right, it's EV Unplugged. He's covered his battery to death, so I don't want to cover all of those things and steps and processes, but check out his channel. I'll tell you, my car does the same thing. It's very slowly losing 0.1 amp hours, you know, a week or something like that. So I'll show you guys my Watchdog app, and you'll notice that the 3 trips here, the last 3 that I've done, I'll show you guys, I actually stayed the same this month. I didn't lose anything in over a month. Okay, so if we look in the Watchdog app at our state of charge history, this bottom one here was taken on July 23rd, and you'll notice that we had 36.8 amp hours was a full charge. So we've lost quite a bit there, and that's 4.5 months of owning the car. 38 amp hours is 100%, I believe. So anyway, it's coming down very slowly. If we look at the 27th of July, so this is 4 days later, you'll notice that we're down to 36.6 amp hours. Okay, you guys can see my kilometer driving distance there, so time has moved on. This is a week later, we've dropped to 0.2 amp hour again. Now, however, if we come up to today, the 28th, 08/17, we're still maintaining 36.6 amp hours. So we've come, this is 20 some days right here. And what I did in between here is I've charged the car twice now, 2 weeks apart pretty much, with the slow charger that came with the car. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add to my routine twice a month. I'm going to just charge the car, plug it in at night, and slowly charge it using the charger that came from Mitsubishi. It's almost like a trickle charge. These are all the basic rules that you would follow from years past, whether it's rechargeable batteries, whether it's a rechargeable boat or plane or car, you know, a toy. 6 months from now, we're going to go into Mitsubishi, we'll get it all smoothed and reset and all of that. Really, guys, it's a very small amount that you're losing over the course of the year. So 6 months here, I'm still getting up to 50 kilometers range with the car. So long as I'm still getting over 40 kilometers free range right now, I'm not going to worry about it. Some days it's more, some days it's less, but I think that charging this car with the slow charger has helped. So maybe you guys want to try that. If you're running a level 2 charger at home, just once a month throw it on there and try that, and let us know, you know, on the Facebook forum, or let on the bottom of this video post, guys, does that help? Because it seemed to help my vehicle. Thanks for watching.